George Kilpatrick, Inspiration for the Nation, celebrating people we feel good about. And we've got a special guest on the program today. It is LaVonda Reed. She is the Associate Provost for Faculty Affairs and Professor of Law at Syracuse University, or as Dr. Rick Wright would say, at Syracuse. No, that's Doug Logan. Then Dr. Wright would say, Syracuse University. How you doing, LaVonda Reed?
I'm doing well. How are you this morning, George?
I am doing fine as best as I can, Lavonda. This has been a week. This has been a week, right?
Yeah.
Uh, right now, at the time of our conversation, we're all processing. I invited you to talk about remembering RBG. That's why we're here. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who lies in repose at the Supreme Court, and then will be lying in state at the Capitol. First at the Capitol, first woman to do so, and so I invited you to give your reflections and memories on what Ruth Bader Ginsburg means to you as a lawyer. But we find ourselves in another moment, yet another moment in history, and at the time that we're talking, we're just learning about the decision in the Breonna Taylor case in Louisville, Kentucky, an EMT worker who was mistakenly shot and killed in her own apartment due to a no-knock warrant, and basically her death has not been has not she has not gotten justice because no charges technically have been filed because of her death, right? In the case, I believe it was a Class D felony that charges were filed because of the reckless firing of the gun to somebody else's apartment. So uh, we have seen protests throughout the country, not just in Louisville, Kentucky. We also should say that two officers were shot as part of that, and certainly our prayers go out to those officers as well. But also, we also pray for the family of Breonna Taylor, who, yes, did get a settlement, but did not get justice. So, as a black woman, LaVonda Reed, when you think about her life and what her life means, and as the mother of a daughter, what comes to mind for you?
Yeah. Well, thank you, George, first for having me on your program today. I really appreciate it. We go way back, so thank thank you for having me. And you're right. We are at a moment now where the country really is at a point of reckoning.
Mm-hmm.
So many of our institutions are being shown to have severe, significant systemic frailties and dysfunction. I might say that the whole era of COVID has just really laid bare the inequities in our country. And with all of us being home for so long, we can't turn away. And when I say we, you and I, we stay up on these issues, but
Mm-hmm.
the country at large can't turn away from what's happening all around us. And with the murder of George Floyd, the delayed public
Right.
attention that's being brought to the death of Breonna Taylor, we have just seen that all of our weaknesses as a country, all of our inequities have just been laid bare for all the world to see. I lived in Louisville before
Mm.
coming here
Right.
to Syracuse, right? And in fact, one of my former students is the attorney who is representing the Breonna Taylor family. And I'm proud to see her out there doing the work, really trying to bring justice for this family. But we're heartbroken over what we saw yesterday. As you said, George, as a Black woman, a daughter of a Black woman, a granddaughter of Black women, and a mother of a Black child, a Black daughter. I'm so fearful for what it means for us to step outside of our house. But if you
Mm.
think about what happened to Breonna Taylor, she didn't even have to go outside of her
No, she
house.
didn't.
So she's in her apartment late at night. The police officers show up with a no knock warrant or knock warrant. We're not even really clear on the parameters of the warrant. There's a claim that there was a knock. There was one witness apparently who if we understand what the attorneys are saying, is that that the witness might have changed the story that they told investigators and police throughout the investigation process, who claims that, at the end, at least the Attorney General in the Commonwealth is saying that testimony of that particular witness who said at the end that they heard a knock is what turned this whole case turns on, right?
And
So
that they
yeah,
identified themselves as police too. They're also saying that as well.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, Breonna Taylor, no, there was not justice served for her because there were no charges brought for her loss of life. Yeah, the family got a settlement, but no amount of money can bring her back. Justice can't bring her back. But these are two components of holding people to account for what happened to her.
Yeah, and certainly we're all, I saw a post on social media where someone, a good friend of mine, Weber McLeod, said something to the effect that your black friend is not doing well today, right? Like, we're getting through because we're tired of the same old, and it's just it's very very sad. At the
Yeah, we're a
same,
get through kind of people,
right,
we rely on our faith. We
yes,
rely on our grit and resilience, which, these are buzzwords now, but our
right,
people have had to have those in abundance since
yeah,
the beginning of our existence here in the United States. And so, yeah, we're struggling, but the struggle goes on. I mean, we can't give up. We owe it to our ancestors not to give up. We owe it to our ancestors not to give in to the fatigue,
yes,
but to
come on,
continue to strive for excellence, to continue to push for what is our God-given right
that's
and
right.
what is also our constitutional right to live peaceably in this country.
I appreciate that so much, sister, because I think we need that reminder of who we are and what we come from, especially at times like this. And so, part of the thing that we're celebrating, if you will, or honoring, is the contribution of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and what she means to you as a lawyer.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, it was a fantastic role model and continues to be so. As so much of her life and legacy and work continues to unfold in the wake of her passing, we learn so much more and have opportunity to reflect on exactly who she was as a person, as a jurist, as a lawyer. She, I watched some of your earlier interviews earlier this week, and so much can be said about what she meant for the struggle for equality
Mm-hmm.
for women, girls, and also for men. On
Mm-hmm.
so many of the cases that she argued were the men were the plaintiffs, but it
Right.
was the right of the woman to exercise their full citizenship as an American citizen. And so, she did so much, but I'm also reflecting on not just on her as a judge and as a lawyer, but as a person.
Mm-hmm.
She taught us so much. She taught us how to live. She taught us how to survive. She lost her mother when she was 17 years old. She goes on to college. She meets the love of her life. She teaches us how to love, how to be a spouse, how to be a mother, how to survive as a working woman in the workplace against huge odds that were stacked up against her, lots of discrimination, lots of prejudice. But then she also showed us how to be a human being. Just think about how she lived her golden years. She's in the gym every
Right.
day.
Right.
Not many of us can say that. Now, George, I know you can.
You know I can.
I know you can. So I don't include you in the us that I'm talking about. But yes, I mean, she was working it out in the gym. She
Right.
worked out with her Super Diva t-shirt. She gets rock star status in her later years. I
Right.
mean, that was amazing. She performs in an opera. She's compared to the status of rock stars and rappers. I mean, it's phenomenal. So I mean, she has shown us so much about how to live life from youth to your golden years. And I mean, I think I am drawing a lot of inspiration from that component of what she gave us.
And obviously her impact on the law. We talked about we talked earlier or last we talked to Paula Johnson, one of your colleagues at Syracuse
Yes, yes,
University,
yes.
about the impact that she's had on the law, and all of that is under threat. It appears, right, because by the time this conversation is heard by our listeners, a nomination to the court will have been put forward. And what's at stake here, LaVonda? And I think people need to really know, because what I'm really trying to pivot to is that we have a chance in Kentucky, we got a chance in South Carolina to change the dynamics of our Congress and our Senate, right?
Mhm.
And so, and particularly our Senate, we have a chance to change those dynamics over there, uh, because the Senate will go forward and try to confirm in record time before the election, so that if there is some kind of controversy, which this president expects, there will be some. There will be he's looking to the Supreme Court, who he will have appointed, to make to clear things up, if you will.
That's
So
absolutely right.
speak to that.
Okay, so I will start by saying everybody needs to get out to vote.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, there might be people in the audience who think that their vote doesn't count or doesn't matter. They may be cynical about the process, but in fact, every vote does matter.
mm-hmm.
We have to add up votes. Your vote matters. The next vote matters. We are trying to accumulate votes. And
Mm-hmm.
so every vote does matter. It matters in the states that are swing states, and it matters in the states that are traditionally blue states, and it matters in those states that are traditionally red states. Your vote matters because we're trying to add them up, right?
Right.
And so we won't know whether one vote mattered or votes mattered until after the fact. So we are trying to get out the vote. Everybody exercise your right up and down the ballot. And so it matters in the local elections. It matters in your state elections. It matters on the congressional and senatorial elections. And it also matters at the presidential level. And so to the extent that the current president has had the opportunity to already change the face
Right.
of the court, and may have yet another justice um, um, confirmed by the Senate and appointed in the late hours of a first term and hopefully a final term of this presidency, right? And so what's at stake are all of our civil rights
Mm.
as people of color, our rights to vote, our rights to reproductive choice. All of these things are on the table, and many, many, many more. And so and we're focused a lot on the composition of the
Right.
Supreme Court, but the president has nominated, and there have been lots of confirmations of federal judges on the district court and the U.S. Court of Appeals that don't get a lot of media coverage.
Oh, he's
Most
been
people
busy.
have no idea how many people have been approved on these, have been confirmed on the lower courts, the federal courts. And so it is so important that we understand that there's so much at stake in this election that impacts the lives that we are living today, impacts the lives of our parents, our grandparents, and also our children and our grandchildren. There are generations of rights that are at stake if
Mm.
we don't get out there and exercise the right that so many of our ancestors fought for, got brutalized for, and in fact died for.
Talk to me. Our blood,
Yes,
right? This is
yes.
we paid for this with our blood. The rights that we have, and even as we strive to create this perfect union, our blood is paid for where we are now. We cannot let as you explained it. I don't have to say it anymore. I don't need to mansplain what you just said, because you said it very eloquently.
Thank you. That's right. We can't give up.
We
We
can.
can't give up
We
now.
can.
We might be tired. We might be bowed, but we're not broken. We
That's right.
cannot give up now. Too many people have given up and sacrificed too much for us. We might be weary, we might be exhausted, yes, but we have to continue to press on.
LaVonda Reed is an associate provost at Syracuse University and a professor of law. And she's just given us a charge, inspired us all this morning. And we really appreciate you, LaVonda, for the work that you're doing to spread the word. Vote. I wanted to share this quick story with you. Kerry Washington, I just heard this today, uh, said Scandal the movie, and you click here, but actually so I guess a million people or so clicked on this link, but it was actually her talking about, well, if you like Scandal, then you need to register to vote. And I believe someone, this is not my original reporting, but this is what I've heard, upwards of 30 to 40,000 people actually registered because of this. I don't have this confirmed, but
Mhm.
however many people did that, uh, bravo to Kerry Washington for what
That's
she,
right.
yeah, right?
Use your platform. Use your platform wherever it is, right? Whatever it is. That's
Whatever it is.
awesome. That's awesome.
LaVonda Reed on Inspiration for the Nation.
All right, George, thank you so much.